Hello, man. Hello, Mgtows. I'm going to start early today. I just got back from my bike ride and I'm feeling a little antsy and I just don't feel like doing certain things. So, hello, Mgtows. I'm going to start early today. Let me get sound check. There we go. Sound check's on and everything's in place. And we'll wait a few minutes for somebody to come in. I'll just be here. And one of the things about people and about places and Mgtow and everything in here. Hello, Joe. Yeah, I'm starting early. I don't care. One of the things about Mgtow is when I make a comment or a statement, it's often taken as some negotiation. You're not going to negotiate. Purple pillars aren't going to negotiate with me and the way I believe things in this world. Pretty much everything I say and everything I do here, it's going to crystallize in your brain at a certain point. I don't say things carelessly, and I don't say things out of just feelings or emotions. I say the truth, and truths don't ask for people's opinions. It's just the way the world is, and there will be no unsuccessful argument against the truth. There will be, there often will be unsuccessful argument, but that unsuccessful argument doesn't change the truth about the world we live in and the way the world is. Most of the Stoics in this world will tell you back from Marcus Aurelius, in Marcus Aurelius's days, back to Plato, and all these. There are certain truths in this world that we have to live by, and I live by a certain set of truths, and that's it. There is no negotiation with those set of truths. The Mgtow monk's truth is the Mgtow monk's truth. I often talk about the bar, where I start my bar, my opinion at. I don't start from an unsafe position on one end of the bar. I start from the very safest position. All the purple derp negotiations around here that come, they don't mean nothing to me. They're not going to change my opinion. They're not going to change anything about the way I think about the world. And that's just the truth. And I don't care about that. We often get the argument in here. I see these guys are going to explain Mgtow's simple. There's 3 simple rules, blah, 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 blah. And they go on and it's not get married, don't cohabitate with women. And then there's the third segment that usually goes in how they're trying to negotiate against rule number 1 is in some fine way that the rule that we say that don't get married, don't cohabitate is finely tunable. It's not finely tunable. It's simply the way it is, and it's simply the way it is for one reason. Anytime you bring a female into your life, anytime you bring anybody into your life, you put yourself at risk. You put yourself at risk to their intentions, and most of the time people are predators. They have bad intentions, and that's what these rules are for. They're to keep you safe. The bar, purple pill derps that don't understand, Mgtow monks that do understand. Start at the safe end. You'll put yourself in a position of safety. Marcus Aurelius would agree with this. He doesn't negotiate with idiots. Evil people do evil things, and you're going to realize that in your life, that after you get hit, it wasn't something that should have been negotiated from the beginning. Evil people are out there, and never expect evil people not to do evil things. You're negotiating with a clown, and that clown is yourself. So I started thinking about this morning, put together a simple set of rules that I live by, and they're, like I said, they're not negotiable, and I don't go make comments where I feel that somebody out there's some strange thing when I make a comment that somebody comes in and they think, I'm going to change the way you think, Traversable. You're not going to change anything about the way I think. It's not negotiable. I didn't ask for your permission to write it. Either ban me or go away. Do not answer to my comments, because I will not change what I said. I don't write things errantly. I don't think about rules in my life errantly. And that's just the truth. So we get into these rules and why these rules for Mgtow, why these rules for Mgtow monk work. And that's it. That's it. We'll try to work through these things and explain them to you in a gentle way where the monks think about these things and they're right. There's no negotiation to these rules. If you're spinning plates, if you're out there being the entertainer, or you're trying to negotiate with these rules in life, usually you're going to end up getting hit, getting hurt. And it will come, these rules will crystallize in their brains, like I said, either in maturation or loss, one of the two, or you accept the simple truth about this. Rule number one, Barbarossa said something very astoundingly similar to my rule. And back in the day, he said, operate under the implied assumption that every person, woman you meet in the world is a predator. Operate under the implied assumption that every person you meet in the world is a predator. That will keep you safe. We often hear the stories of how men are trying to negotiate, how they're trying to work deals, how they're trying to game the certain thing they're doing out there. There is no game in it. There's no negotiating it with it. When you come to a person, when you come to any kind of business deal or any contract with a woman, you better operate under the implied assumption that every person, man or woman you meet in this world is a predator, because we are predators. And if you lose that rule, you're lost. Rule number two is rule number one is not gender bias. Every man you meet will betray you. Every single man you meet in this world will betray you in a deal for a woman or his family. Every man will betray you. If it comes down to a choice between a woman, and that's what you see around here with the purple pillars, they're betraying Mgtow for woman or family. And they try to negotiate these rules. There is no negotiation to these rules. The root part A to this is the root of all corruption in it is, what will I do for my family? What will I do for my woman? We see this with congressmen. We see this with lawyers. We see this with presidents. We see this with every person that ever justifies something in their life that they know is wrong. What will I do for my family? What will I do for my daughter? It justifies the wrongs in their mind. When men come around, what will they do for a woman? They will betray every single man in their life. They will throw every single man under the bus in their life, if that means ideology, actuality, or opinion. Like I said, I'm not negotiating with these opinions. These opinions are true, and they're not opinions, they're facts. Never argue with the fact that the human race is and always has been deeply flawed. Every single person you meet out there, every woman you meet in this world wants things from you. She wants your utility. She wants what she wants. Every man will throw you under the bus for his family. Every man will throw you under the bus for a female. That's just the truth. If you operate within these rules, the Mgtow rules on the bar, you land yourself in the monk's area of safety. Any variation of these rules will put you at risk. There is no negotiation here. Sort people with these preconditions in mind. Reducing risk is not removing risk. You're going to sort people that you bring into your life with these preconditions in your mind. Even though you are reducing risk, you are not removing risk. Monk men, this is for you only. If you stay in control of your life or your actions, your reasons, and those actions, why you do things, and what you gain from those actions, you will stay safe. Any violation of these rules will result in failure. And that's the precondition of it. Be confident in the fact these rules are flawless. A, introducing risk and open chance. Anytime you introduce risk to these rules, you open chance in your life. Chance is chaos. No risk, no chance. Chance is chaos. If you deviate from the rules, you are opening up chance. Now, this is the hardest part for most men to understand in these rules. The enemy of man is man. Your woman is not your enemy. She cannot compete with you. She cannot possibly compete with you. The only way she gains power or gets power is through another man. Trust that. Anyone that tries to convince me or you of anything different to these facts is the enemy of man. These purple pillars, these guys that come around and they try to negotiate with the rule of do not deal with these women, they're putting you at risk and they are your enemy. These are the purple pillars. These are the PUAs. These are the I'm dating guys. I'm doing this. The first rule that they come up with is they accept the rule of Mgtow. Do not bring the women into your life. Do not get married. Do not do these things. These things are risky, is what we are saying. Those rules are, if you violate these rules, they accept these rules. And then the third one, they always negotiate with the first rule. There's cognitive dissonance in the male's brain on this. They negotiate with the first rule. Any negotiation with the first rule is futile. I am fastidious with these choices that I make with these rules in my life. I always assume from the beginning, no matter how nice, no matter how pleasant, no matter how good looking, someone comes to me, they're coming to me with their interests on their mind. There's no reason for them to be in my life. I didn't invite them in my life. They pushed their way into my life. Any violation of these rules will result on something they want, not you. No risk, no chance. The enemy of man is man. That means every man you meet in here, every man you meet in here that demands that you negotiate with your rules that keep you safe is putting you at risk. He is your enemy. That means the purple pillars. That means the incels. That means the dating guys. The dating guys are about the funniest. They're always negotiating with new number one. What I do in my private time is none of your business. What you do on your private time is none of my business. Don't ask, don't tell. It's a simple, simple idea. The simple idea of don't ask, don't tell operates under all these rules. Do not put me at risk. You're offending me when you try to negotiate with these rules. When you come to Mgtow, apply what you've learned. Any deviation from these rules will put you at risk. If you have to lie and say you're not doing these things, then do it. It's simple etiquette. I don't walk into a Christmas party or a party or an office meeting and tell the people there what I'm thinking about doing with my lower region. They don't want to know, nor do I want to know. And I will never subject these men around here to me going off about what I want to do with my lower regions, because it comes off as a discussion about that, and that's homosexuality. Purple pillar guys, there is no negotiations. Negotiations are not open to my ideas. These are simple facts in life. These are simple facts in life. Anytime they come around with this errant ideas that I'm going to speak with them about those subjects, they are wrong. I will not change my opinion on those. Operate under the implied assumption that every person, woman you meet in this world is a predator. That will put you in a safe place. Any negotiation with that, any argument against that is wrong and will provide risk to your life. The rules generally roll down from that. Do not bring those people in your life. Do not bring nobody in your life. If you're going to pick your friends carefully, and even know that even when you pick your friends around here, anywhere in life, rule number 2 is in effect. Every man will betray you for a deal for his woman or his family. And if he brings a woman in there, and that's what's happening with these people, these purple derpers. And that's what's happening with the try to negotiate these rules. They're bringing the archetype female or the idea of a female, and they're throwing the rest of Mgtow under the bus. They've already betrayed themselves. They've already betrayed Mgtow. You keep the etiquette. You never violate the etiquette. You never talk about those things. But from the inception, they violate their own rules, and they're not men that are trustworthy. They will break the deal. As soon as the idea of a woman enters their head, they will break the deal. And that goes for all these people in here. We talk with a certain etiquette, and we do not talk about these things for a reason. Because as soon as men talk about these things, as soon as a woman shows up in there in the comment zone, men break the deal, the Mgtow deal. They break rule number 1, and they try to negotiate it with rule number 3. There will be no negotiations. If you're doing that, that's a tell. That's a tell that you will do that out in the world, that you are not you are not my kind in here. You're not the kind of person I will do business with. You're not the kind of person I will bring in your life, my life. And I please, Purple Pill, stay over in your area. I have the utmost confidence that Mgtow will sort itself, because you know what? These men will slowly turn on each other like they turn on me, like they turn on you. If they're doing a negotiation with this conversation, they're going to turn on you. And they're bringing the female, the idea of the archetype female in their mind. As soon as they do that, the deal is broken. And they will betray you. That's it. It's simple. Rule number 2 is simple. It's not gender bias. Every man you meet will betray you in a deal for a woman or their family. Every man will do that. That's it. It's simple. I'm trying to read some of the conversation that's going on. There is no negotiation, Joe buddy. There is no negotiation. Anything I say will crystallize in your brain at some point in your life. And I'm not asking for permission for that. It will be a truth. Every person you know will violate that. Every person you know will betray you at a certain point. That's from your mother to your father, to your brothers, to your sisters, to your girlfriend. And most of these people try to do the negotiation through some kind of pair bonding law. Oh, you're pair bonding. Pair bonding is the stupidest idea in the whole world. You're not bound by blood with someone you meet on the street. Your woman is not bound to blood by you. She will betray you. Pair bonding is the stupidest idea in the whole world. But men buy into these delusions, these metaphysical things. I hear Paul Elam talking about pair bonding a lot. I hear all these people that try to negotiate with this. I hear Jordan Peterson talking about pair bonding. You know what pair bonding is? It's the delusional belief that you're bound to blood to a woman, that you were separated in your body from her. That's delusional. That's as delusional as some religions. And it's not something I'm going to buy in as a negotiation to the rules that I keep. They think it's a negotiation. That's ridiculous. Operate under the assumption that every person, every woman you meet, and that includes woman. Most of these men give the P-pass on the drop of a dime. Every woman you meet in this world is a predator. There's no negotiation with that. There's no negotiation with that. And men are super predators. We are the apex predators here. That's it. That's the rules. It all starts with rule number 1. You can make all the rules you want in Mgtow. You can negotiate with New Roma. Don't get married. Don't bring them into your life. You can change the wording of that. Marriage is just a ritual practice. Anytime you start down the ritual practice of seeking, you've already violated rule number 1. Marriage is a ritual. It works up to marriage. There's nothing to know about that. As soon as you start violating that principle and bringing them around, you're at risk. As soon as you bring anybody in your life, you are at risk. You choose your friends carefully, very carefully, and always assume if they have a woman on their mind, or in their life, they will throw you under the bus for that idea or woman, actuality, or even the idea of it in their mind will make them your enemy because they start tournamenting. And that's what happens with the purple pillars. The idea of it is already preset in their mind, and I can't seem to remove that idea. That goes back to Joe's rule about the default settings of asexuality. The default sections of sexuality in life is asexuality. I'm working on my car. I don't want to talk about these things. When I'm at my job, these things are not necessary to talk about. When I'm here, these things are not necessary to talk about, but all these guys want to talk about their nether regions. The default setting in life is asexuality. Please, please don't violate that because you look like an ass. Like I said, would you walk into a Christmas party with your aunts and uncles and your grandma and your grandpa and start talking about that? No, you wouldn't. If you do, you're a retard. And I do think that a lot of these purple pillish kind of guys, I don't think they're right in their head, because those are the kind of guys who would walk around at a Christmas party at the shop and start talking about that stuff, and hence depriving themselves of any raises or any promotions that they would get, because the boss and people of good sense like me would look at him and go, that man's an ass. The maturation period will take care of that drive for some of these immature boys around here. The maturation period will remove some of that drive. But until that happens, they're just simply immature boys that don't understand the rules and will put themselves at risk. Whether you want to put yourself at risk, if you're taking these people and he's driving in a car in the real life, or you're at a bar with him, remember, you might need a ride home at the end of the night because he's going to throw you under the bus. Always keep the Uber on the phone. Always make sure anywhere you go, Anything you do, any trust you put in people, you have a secondary plan based on rule number 1. Operate under the implied assumption that every person in this world you meet is a predator and will throw you under the bus. I don't go out without a secondary plan. I don't do nothing without a secondary plan, because each one of these people, as soon as they get that idea, if it's a man in his head about the archetype female, he will throw you under the bus at a drop of a dime. That's rule number 2. He will throw you under the bus at a drop of a dime. He will leave you stranded, broke, and busted by the simple idea of a female. That's why we monk. We keep ourselves safe. And I told you that's why we don't talk about those things, because at the simple drop of the dime of the idea, they will start negotiating with the idea. Even here, even in the chat, they will negotiate with the idea. Somehow it's okay to do, violating rule number 1 of Mgtow. We don't put ourselves at risk with marriage or dating processes and all that stuff. I hear a million videos out there. They understand, don't get married, don't. It's a ritual. Marriage is a ritual practice that you don't have to go in front of a judge or a church for it to happen. It happens by time now. The government will consider you married after 6 months of living with a woman. You violated rule number 1. You started negotiating that practice. You started going down that ritual mating practice. And anywhere in that whole thing, you can get hurt. I hear the argument all the time. I gave her a ring, man, and then she cheated on me and she won't give me that ring back. Yeah, you're an ass. You're an ass. You went down the ritual practice of marriage. It's ritualized. That whole thing works out on a queuing process that some ass 10,000 years ago decided was right. Some caveman thought was right. And you're operating on those plans? You're an idiot. You're an idiot if you're thinking about that. Rule number 1, we don't do those things. We don't talk about things. We keep an etiquette here in Mgtow. As soon as they want to start talking about those things, they've broken rule number 1. They're negotiating somewhere down the line of doing that, and then you become at risk. If you're with a business partner out there and he has a family, remember, all the root of all corruption is, what will I do for my family? What will I do for my little girl? What will I do for my woman? In that situation, every single time, a male will throw his business partner under the bus. We hear millions and millions of stories about this. This is no new idea. That idea floats in here in Mgtow all around. As soon as you see that as a Mgtow monk, as soon as you see them negotiating with those ideas, you're at risk. You're at risk. Because it's a tell on them. The whole process is a tell. If they can't keep the simple etiquette to not talk about those things in here, they can't do that in their real life. The dolly diddlers. Do you think you can trust a dolly diddler, a guy that would do that? The first woman that walks by, he will throw you under the bus for. He can't control his garbage thinking in any way. The purple pill guys. And the guys that even call, there's guys around here that are so milk apple, they have no, the Dariuses and the Dannys and everything will say, I'm a monk, but somehow they'll negotiate in rule number 3 with rule number 1. But man, it's so natural that men do this. I don't want to know what you do. You broke rule number 1. You talked about it. What's Fight Club? Rule number 1 in Fight Club is don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. There's a certain etiquette you violate, and it tells on yourself when you talk about it. And it deviates and it detracts from the Mgtow message. That's all it does. And it makes Mgtow about talking about that. The red pill, the purple pill guys, the incels and the TFLers got thrown off of Reddit because they could not get that garbage out of their head. Now they've come here to try to negotiate with YouTubers about that very thing, about how they can negotiate through the rules. They can negotiate that minefield. Like I said, everything I say here will crystallize in their brains with maturation or loss. It's the truth. And if you get hurt along the way, if one of these guys drag you into one of their schemes like Chris Cantu, there's no wondering on my part why he was doing the this scheming thinking. He was doing that for the thought of a woman, the simple thought of a woman. And like I say, the default process of sexuality for people is asexuality. When I'm working on my car, I should not be thinking about that. When I'm talking about Mgtow, I should not be thinking about that. When I go into a school, I do not think about that. When I go around my family, I do not think about those things, and I do not talk about them. When you come around here to Mgtow, the process does not change. It's not negotiable. You should not be thinking about those things. And if you are, you can go over to Chris Cantu's channel, and everything about that is geared for the idea of an archetype female in his life. And you wonder why he threw you guys under the bus? You're idiots if you're wondering why that happened. Because you broke rule number one. You broke rule number one. But they want to negotiate with that. Somehow he's forgiven. That's what I heard all week. Oh, somehow he's forgiving for forget. No, I don't forgive and I don't forget. Mgtow Values knows that one. We don't forgive in Mgtow and we don't forget. These guys are ridiculous. When you come and you imagine this, you go to watch a video, you see it, you write a statement, you think about your statement on that comment, and then 50 people come and they try to argue with your statement. Do they assume that you wrote that statement errantly? Did they assume that you didn't think about that? Well, that in that assumption, what they're doing is trying to negotiate with the original comment. Somehow they think they're going to negotiate. That's the funniest fucking thing I see around here. I see Barbarossa go put a comment somewhere on myself, put a comment somewhere, even Stardust or Howard Dare put a comment, and all these guys come and they start negotiating with the comment. That's a stupid idea. Did you think they wrote those things errantly? Do you think I write my comments errantly? That's a tell on themselves. Do you think I didn't think this podcast out before I did it? Is there an assumption that I failed to articulate what I have on my mind? If you have that assumption of me, you're an idiot. You're a fool. There will be no negotiation with the original rules. And that's all I'm saying. And for those guys that are doing it, they're putting themselves at risk. Don't ask me to put myself at risk. Don't ask me to take an immature opinion about the things. And I'm not negotiating with these things I say. Because everything puts me at risk in this world. And the slightest thing will be the thing that takes you down. I trusted people at one time. I trusted my brother and my wife, and I trusted friends. I believed in that pair bonding thing. Some ass told me that was going to work. None of that no more for me. I've seen the destruction of that. When these guys come around and they start negotiating with that process of thinking, the Mgtow way of thinking, rule number 1 stands clear. We don't do those things. Rule number 2 is, please have some etiquette. Don't talk about those things amongst men that don't want to talk about those things. All you're doing is bringing, it's like bringing crack to a crack den and asking them not to smoke it. That's ridiculous. It's like bringing alcohol to an AA meeting. It's an idiotic idea. And like I said, that starts in their mind with the simple archetype female there. As soon as they do that, as soon as that happens in his mind, the male has already made a decision that he is going to throw you under the bus at any moment. And that's what we see transpire out here. He's already made that decision up in his mind that there was something wrong about rule number 1. He wants to argue and negotiate. He wants to spin the plates. He wants to be the entertainer. No, not in my world, not here. And I will not entertain those thoughts. That's it. That's it. These guys are ridiculous sometimes. And I know there's this growth period into Mgtow. I assume that, and I'm empathetic for that growth period. But after a while, you got guys who've been around here barely 3 months, and they're making the rules somehow. They're going to tell you how to negotiate through that minefield. They're trying to take men that are safe and make them unsafe. That's ridiculous. I'm going to keep this short and sweet so it's palatable. And I'll probably be back later. It's Friday night Fight Club. It's Friday. I usually do a video about 7, 8 o'clock. And I'll be back. And but I wanted to get these rules operate under the applied assumption that every person in this world, including women, and don't give them the pass, is a predator. That's every single one of them. That's Mgtow. And with that, man, I'm going to sign out here, go get myself something to eat and fill my belly today. I took my bike ride early, and I felt kind of jumpy. I was like, ooh, man, I want halfway through the ride, I started getting up on the pedals and everything. And like, doing the every time I seen a mound, I wanted to hit it. But I wanted to get something to eat, and I'm tired, and I'm upset about, these purple pillish guys. And with that, thanks around. Mgtow's been saving me well for a decade. I'm gonna hit it, and like always, Mgtow's about you guys. Mgtow's about you coming around. Mgtow's about like-minded men that want to keep themselves safe from all these things. Mgtow's not about the detractors. Mgtow's not about the guys that want to convince you that that there's something wrong with your thoughts about bringing females into your life. They want to put you at risk, and they do that for one reason, because the archetype of the female in their mind, they can't get that off of them. They can't get that off of their mind. But with that, that's up to each and every one of you to decide for yourself the amount of risk you put yourself in. But it's not an argument. The unbar monk keeps you safe, and that's it. It keeps you safe. If you want to negotiate down to that purple pill level, today I'm going to tell you a story. Today, a young man came over, and he didn't listen to my advice, and he's now paying $980 a month for child support, and he wanted something from me, and I knew he wanted something from me. There's no doubt in my mind that they want something from me, and I'm empathetic to his cause, but the extent he will go towards taking care of his family, not because it's his will anymore, because it's the desire of the state, and he has to, or else he'll end up in jail. I keep that on my mind now when dealing with these people. Every man will throw you under the bus at that point. You guys take care. You guys have a great day. Consider what you do in life. Consider the risk you put yourself at. And with that, thanks for coming around, Mgtows. And thanks for being Mgtow.